Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I really was surprised by this movie. Not in the sense that, not in the way that you would expect. I was totally just thinking to myself that there was going to be, what's it called? I thought there was going to be a lot more action. I thought there would be a lot more of a fight, or not that there isn't one. I'm just saying that, like, and the grand total of it, for whatever reason, in the back of my mind, I was kind of like, there's going to be big action sequences like they did on the San Francisco Bridge, and there are some elements of that. There is action in the film, but for some reason in my mind, I just kept on thinking like there's going to be like this whole back and forth like fight between the apes and the humans, and I guess I kind of felt like what I expected the movie to be turned out to be something a lot more. It was really amazing. I was very surprised by the film and how I came to look at the characters differently as the story went on. So anyways, we are picking up where we left off on the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, with the world in getting the global pandemic of the ALZ-113 drug being exposed to everybody. They call it the simian flu. And in this new world, we kind of see that there are humans who are immune to the disease, who are immune to the ALZ-113 virus, to the simian flu. And they resist it, so they're alive. And they're very short and few of them compared to how many were in the world now. And they all live in San Francisco, and they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to figure it out. Anyways, this new world, there's few humans. The city is messed up. It's not full of cars, and it's not full of people. It's not a city anymore. It's more of like a wasteland taken over by vegetation and plants, and it's just becoming less of a well-maintained city, and is turning into this forest, kind of a world, that's soon to be, I don't want to say completely taken over by nature, but that's where it's headed. Anyways, and the humans are just trying to regroup. They're trying to have some sort of a life, but they can't because of the apes. And I'll explain more into it, but nature is what I'm trying to get at here is nature is expanding and humanity is shrinking, or human beings, our civilization that we had upheld for so long, or that we had created, is now dwindling down to what is it, like primitive times, you know what I mean, where we have to like build houses again instead of occupying buildings, which they don't do. I'm just saying, for example. Now, early on in the film, I really like this part of the movie. I mean, it was pretty early on, but I'm surprised that they don't show more of it. But I really liked how you kind of see Caesar with his son, and they're kind of doing like a hunt, or they're figuring out how to, I think they're deer or elk or whatever. They're just trying to get a catch, to eat, to survive, right? So I see them, and all of a sudden a bear pops out. And I thought the bear was a really good antagonist for the apes, because watching them, you kind of expect that, like, okay, they're at the top of the food chain now, you know what I mean? Not that humans aren't capable, it's just that the sheer numbers, you know what I mean, have dwindled down. They're not soldiers anymore, right? There's not a huge military army like there used to be. It's now everyday people like you and I have to survive and have to fight and have to learn how to win this fight against them, and we don't have that anymore. So anyways, I thought the example of the bear being like a challenging threat for them was a good. I thought it was a good challenge. You know what I mean? Because in that moment, I could clearly see that Caesar and his son were about to die. Like in a one-on-one straight up fight, like just straight hands, like whatever you got, the bear wins. Okay, but fortunately, the bear gets killed by another ape. I forget if it's Koba or maybe it was another one, but all I remember is that the bear essentially gets like a stab in the back of its head with a spear, and then that's the end of it. The bear CGI, I mean the ape CGI is phenomenal. I really, it's a big credit to them. I can't. If you showed me that movie like when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh, those monkeys are very real. Like they did it. You know, I guess I would have figured out that they're not real, but they look so perfect. You know what I mean? They look really good. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at here is that other animals exist, and I like the way that they show that there's still threats to the apes. It's just that the apes are a lot smarter and they have weapons and they can protect themselves. So they're at the top of the food chain essentially. And we see the ape community. We see how they have been surviving or expanding their community in a way that's in their home in the San Francisco woodlands or the forest that they ran away into. And I really liked how they just kept to nature. You know what I mean? They didn't go into the city. They very much could build a life in the city. It'd probably be, I don't want to say better, but it just goes to show the difference in how the apes live their life and how we live our life. You know what I mean? We cling to the city. We cling to society. We cling to, you know, what's has been built or what we have made, as opposed to going out and building our own life or doing something on our own, right? So for the ape community, it's about making their own life, building their own way of living, you know? So they have like little huts and villages and whatnot. And I really like that. And I feel like what I was saying earlier about how humans are going back to that primitive state, I'm kind of talking like if they were to behave or live in the same way, or maybe kind of treat it like primitive times, right? If they were to build their own huts, their own homes and whatnot like that, then maybe they would be a lot stronger. They would be able to figure things out a lot better than they do here, as opposed to them trying to hold on to what was or make the city happen again, right? So anyways, we see that they don't need advanced technology. They don't need concrete buildings. They don't need guns. They just need wooden spears, some stone, rocks, whatever they can build with their own hands. And we see that the community is led by Caesar. So it's kind of like this king rule, you know what I mean? He's the leader, so therefore he has the final say on things, or his decision is the input, or the majority of them follow him. So because of that, he's at the top of it all. And I say king loosely. I mean, oh man. I'm speaking solely on like I don't see them like electing officials, you know what I mean? But perhaps it is a majority. A majority of the apes do trust Caesar. They like Caesar, so they're willing to follow him. It's, a majority of them choose Caesar over anyone else. Anyways, their intelligence is also increasing. They see them teaching and learning and becoming more in like a traditional sense. Like when I say they're teaching like Maurice is teaching a pack of baby apes or whatnot, and teaching them like they're in school, you know what I mean? As opposed to just like regular, I don't know, primate survival instincts, you know what I mean? Like not just teaching them how to eat and survive and how to protect yourself, which are survival instincts. They're teaching them how to do puzzles and read books and the alphabet and sign language, right? Like those are things that we do that they're doing, and it shows their intelligence is improving and that they're able to communicate a lot clearer. Anyways, we also see that the love that they have for each other, the love that has expanded and has grown very big, but there's still this ever looming, there's this weight on the back of on everyone's shoulders in the community that there's still humans out there. So love and hate are really at odds with each other. And then in the humans, I mean, it's not difficult to understand what the humans are feeling or what they want. They want to be the dominant species again. They want to go back to regular life. They want an army. They want to kill the simian flu or to kill all of the apes, so that way they can, they can be the apex predator. They can be number one. And I remember watching it, and watching the one guy, I forget his name. I can't remember his name right now, but he was like, I don't know if he's bald. He looks bald, but he's immediately scared when he sees the apes, and then he pulls out his gun and he shoots one of them. Now, fear is reality, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't understand what he did, but it annoyed me to no end that he kept on choosing violence or choosing the difficult road. You know what I mean? He was just not doing what was right. He let his fear control him, and then it led them all down this tough path for humans, you know what I mean? And I was so upset with him. I really, hate is a strong word. I just didn't like what he was doing, you know what I mean? I could understand why he was doing it, but I needed him to chill out. So I was just so upset with that guy. And then the rest of the humans, they're pretty much okay. I mean, you understand the position that they're in. And I'm like, they're not doing anything that I wouldn't think about doing. But obviously, I have the knowledge of knowing who Caesar is. You know what I mean? Like, I saw Caesar and what he went through. I know what the other apes are feeling, right? Because I'm watching it. I don't know their fear or their pain or what they want from life, right? They're looked at as just animals. But as we watch throughout the movie, we see the connection between Caesar and the main guy. I also forget his name, so whatever. But we see that they just want life to be back to the way it was. Humans want superiority. They want to be on top. And we also see love between the humans, right? We see how they love one another. We see how they're trying to rebuild a community. They're trying to give hope. They're trying to give a future, a possibility of the world going back to normal, the world being beautiful again, with stores and with with everything, you know what I mean? It's just like starting from the ground up is difficult, but it is possible. And we see that love in between the female character and the male character. for the life of me, I can't remember their names, but it's those two love each other, and then the love that the dad has for his son, and then we see that also with Caesar and his son, his newly born son and his wife, you know what I'm saying? So there's definitely parallels there. They're shadows of each other. They're mirrors of one another, right? One is a human, one is an ape, but they're good people. They're good together, you know what I mean? He's a good human and Caesar's a good ape, and they could get along, but everything else messes things up. Not everybody is like them. Not everybody is perfect, and that's what makes it so rare and makes it so so beautiful. Their kind of friendship or their kind of bond with one another is because they are able to understand each other or respect each other, or have this sort of relationship where it's not I hate you, you hate me. It's I understand you and I'm here for you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Because they both have seen incredible things from one another. Caesar has seen good things from humans, so he sees the good in the man, whereas the man has seen what the apes are capable of, and he's astounded by it. He thinks it's remarkable that they're capable of communicating and creating community and being strong. You know what I'm saying? So because of that kind of display impresses him, and he feels like they deserve respect in a sense. So why is coexisting with one another so difficult? They want to coexist. Caesar is like, humans live here in the city, apes live in the forest, in the woods, and that's the way it's going to be. Two different ways of life. You live here, we live here. I mean, we live there, you live here, right? And that's how it is. There's going to be a separation between the two of us. There's a ape and human segregation. I stay where I'm at, you stay where you're at, and nobody goes past these lines. But obviously the humans need something. We need power, we need electricity, we need some sort of way to get power back. And we see that Caesar feels that it's possible to coexist with humans. And he sees it with his littlest son playing with the new humans, too young to have any kind of hate for humans, right? In the same way that Caesar was grown up, he sees them and he's kind of playful with them, treats them like ape, right? He doesn't have an idea of like they're bad people. He's just like, they're another living being right in front of me, and I want to play with them. I want to be silly with them. I want to crawl on them and play games and whatever, right? Because it's a baby. So Caesar thinks it's possible. The humans, the main guy, he's like, it's possible as long as, you know what I mean, we're there for each other, you know what I mean? There's respect, no guns, I'm not here to hurt you, and you don't hurt me or attack me or anything like that. There's something there. They both think it's possible. On the contrast, there are two other characters on both sides that do not think it's possible and do not want it to be possible. And that comes in the form of Koba and his misanthropy. He hates humans. And it's not difficult to understand why. And when I'm watching the movie, I feel like I don't dislike Koba as much as I dislike the human. When I was talking about earlier, like when the human pops up on screen and he's just like being a nervous loser and he's just like shooting everything or like being really mean for no reason, I'm just kind of like, dude, all you had to do was chill and that was it. But when I see Koba do what he does, I'm thinking he's a lot more cunning, he's a lot smarter, and he's also been very mistreated, so I understand his actions. I'm a lot more understanding of Koba as opposed to the man, and that could be attributed to any number of reasons. It's mostly likely because I care about Koba, or like I know what he's went through. You know what I'm saying? And if he was shown or given time with humans, good people, right? I think he would be on board, but he's just so far gone. He just hates them so much, and it's not hard to understand why. I give him more of a pass on that end. And I guess another part of it is that, like, if we are the better species, if we are a lot, you know what I mean? If we're the dominant ones, then I feel like, I don't know, I'm just a little harsher on humans because it's like, be better, you know what I mean? Just do what they say, be cool, be good, right? That's just how I feel. But anyways. And then at the opposite end, I won't say that the opposite of Koba is the scary guy who shoots Ash at the beginning, or whoever he shoots, who shoots the ape, or is like very about his guns to protect himself. I like Gary Oldman as the opposite to Koba on the human side, and his love for humans, or his desire for the future of humanity to continue and have great prosperity. So he's the opposite, you know what I mean? He sees the apes as animals, which no offense, they are, but they're progressed. They have evolved. They're evolved apes, you know what I mean? They're not full on humans, but they're not just animals anymore. They're people we can communicate with. They're people we can understand. And because of that, it's like you can't label them as just animals anymore. They're in a classification of their own, but they're, you know, evolved. They're better. So I just feel like those two different ways of thinking, Caesar and the main guy, and Gary Oldman and Koba, they're the two contrasting views of humanity and apes. But by the end of the film, it was always going to happen. There was always going to be conflict. There was never going to be any chance that they could truly coexist. And Caesar and the main guy, they kind of speak on it briefly. They're like, I thought it was possible. I thought, me being stupid, them both being stupid to the others, and opening their eyes to reality, you know what I mean? Coexistence is not possible. So they have to get ready for war. That's the next step. No matter how good one person may be, it doesn't make the it doesn't make the whole world agree. You know what I mean? There's always going to be differences of opinions, but it's eye-opening for the reality of tomorrow there's going to be a war, and if you get in the way, I'm going to have to fight you and kill you to protect what I love, and you'll have to do the same, so they have to go separate ways. There is no coexisting. It's really difficult. It's damn near impossible for them to coexist. It's not from a lack of trying, it's just that the good people are very slim and few, and the good apes will always be turned against because, look at what happened with his son in Koba. His son didn't really have any, His son didn't really have any exposure to humans, as far as I know, right? All he knows is what his father tells him, and yet his son was kind of on Koba's side. He was kind of turning against Caesar. He was kind of turning his back on humanity. He didn't really care about humans, no matter how much Caesar kind of told them that, like, no, they're good people. There are good humans. You know what I mean? He just kind of felt like he was more so like, I'm about apes. I don't care about humans. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just, you can see how, like, it just takes one bad ape or one hating ape to sway the opinions of others, you know what I mean? Which is what ended up happening. And we learn in the film that, obviously the apes have to fight to protect themselves, but we also see the inner conflict. So the conflict between Koba and Caesar is also mirroring the conflict between Gary Oldman and the main guy, which is the respect for one another, or their care, or their good nature to one another, their possibility of coexistence is in each other when they're able to fight for one another when the other isn't there. So the main guy is fighting Gary Oldman or keeping him back from hurting the apes when Caesar's not there to witness it. You know what I'm saying? It's not what you do when everybody looks at you. It's what you do when nobody looks at you, right? Like, can you keep up? Can you do the same good thing when the cameras aren't on you? You know what I'm saying? When you don't have a witness to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So we see that they have that conflict between the two of them. And then what ends up happening is Gary Oldman blows up the tower where all the apes are. And where are the apes? Well, Koba and Caesar are fighting it out because Koba tried to kill Caesar because he hates humans so much that he is willing to kill Caesar to get the apes to attack the humans. So it's always this vengeance, this hate that poisons Koba into who he turns out to be. And there is I could go on and on and on about the sequence between him and Caesar fighting one another, about Koba's this hate for humans, his misanthropy. It's really sad to see, you know, because I don't know what it is, but when I see Koba suffering, or when I see him talk about how much he hates humans, for the life of me, I just want to go up to Koba and like show him I'm a good human. You know what I mean? I want to show him that like I can be a good human. And I would have really liked to see him change, or maybe adapt, or maybe get a taste of the good life a little bit, which I don't really see in the film. I would have really liked to see him. I really would have liked to have seen Koba see the good in humans and maybe have like second thoughts, but inevitably still give in to his vengeance. You know, I would have really liked to see a scene like that, or a moment that captures somebody being kind to Koba, and maybe he doesn't like the kindness, or he sees it as like a trick, but it's actually just being kind to him and caring for him. Maybe a scene where there's a scene where Caesar beats Koba, and then Koba has to apologize and get Caesar's acceptance, and he leaves because of the humans. And I would have liked a scene that shows maybe Koba getting his wounds treated by the girl, and him being at the beginning kind of pushing her away or hating her, and then slowly seeing that like she's actually really kind and caring and doesn't mean him any harm. And she notices his scars and his eye and the things that he's been through and the pain that he's felt. And she kind of kindly, like, you know, treats his wounds and makes him feel better or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And he gets like a second thought that like maybe they're not all bad, or Caesar's kind of watching it happen, and he thinks that like Koba's kind of changing, but in the end he kind of has like second thoughts. But again, like I said, he just turns back. I don't know. I would have liked to see that, but instead they only show the worst parts of it all, you know, how much he hates it. But I completely understand. I thought it was great. Just a little poke at it. But overall, when they get to the final fight, when Koba inevitably attacks the humans and the humans have to protect themselves, and then they go back and forth, there's this great moment. And I am going to recite it word for word. So there's this beautiful moment where Koba and Caesar are fighting, and Koba is screaming at Caesar, and Caesar Caesar is trying to get Koba to turn his hate away from the humans, trying to see the error of his ways. You know what I'm saying? Trying to. I don't think Caesar wanted to kill Koba at the beginning of their fight. I think he just wanted to show him that like he's going the wrong path. He's doing things that goes directly against his philosophy or the way he believes life to be. He's imprisoning the apes that don't follow him. He killed an ape because they didn't do what he said, and that's just like against the rules. Ape doesn't kill ape. And Caesar is like betrayed, obviously, and he says, Caesar treated Koba like brother. Caesar treated Koba like brother. And then Koba goes, Caesar, brother to humans. Koba fight for ape. Free ape. And then he does like this triple hit against Caesar, and he's shielding himself. And then Caesar looks him dead in the eyes and says, Koba, kill ape. Koba, fight for Koba. And then there's this deep guttural scream from Koba, and that scream is there's so much context in that scream. It's the most powerful scene in the whole movie because it's just like in that moment Koba knows what he's doing is wrong and he's still going through with it, but he's doing it. And this time the truth comes out. He's not doing it for the apes. He's not doing it for the community. He's not doing it for Caesar. He's not doing it for the little apes. He's not doing it for any of that. He's doing it for himself, for his hatred of humans. He's not doing it because he believes that the humans have something to provide. He's not doing it because the humans have capacity for good just as they do. He's not doing it because he sees them as a real 100% threat. Like, he knows they could go to war and the apes would probably win, especially in the state that they are now. That's not the issue, right? And yes, there would be casualties, and Caesar knows that, and he's told him that. But Koba knows that, like, if war were to break out, hey, I'm on the side of the apes and I'd fight it. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the way. He doesn't trust Caesar. He doesn't trust humanity. He hates humans so much that it makes him turn against Caesar, turn against all other apes who dare defy him. And it's because it's all about him. It's all about Koba and his personal problems, his personal hatred towards humans. And that's what leads him down this path, down this bad road. And it's what inevitably turns him from, that's the moment that turns him from ape. You know what I'm saying? In that moment, Koba could have stopped. Koba could have made up with Caesar, or at least asked for forgiveness. He could have seen the error of his ways. He could have simply told Caesar, you're right, I'm sorry. I had no choice. I hate them so much. You know what they've done to me. There could have been a camaraderie. There could have been a loving, tender moment between the two where Koba just kind of gives in and relentlessly cries. But instead, he keeps on fighting Caesar. He's going through with it no matter what. And that's the change. And that scream from it was so powerful, was so beautifully done. I have to give a huge credit to the voice actor. I don't know any names, so sorry to that guy, but he was phenomenal. And that scream, it made me really care about Koba and be like, man, he's just gone. He's too far gone. There's no turning him back now. So everything prior to the scream, prior to that conversation, there could have been, prior to that scream, there could have been there could have been reconciliation. There could have been a way to restore order, or to at least give Koba another day to breathe. You know what I mean? And it was wrong, but there could have been a chance. You know what I'm saying? Instead, he continues to go through with it, and it sucks because he's so far gone that he eventually shoots, apes and I think kills another one and hurts Maurice. And that's when Caesar kind of sees that he's not Ape anymore. He hasn't been following the rules, their principles anymore. Their philosophy of Ape doesn't kill Ape. He killed Ape, right? Because they didn't follow him. So again, I just found that scene so powerful. It was so well done. And it was a huge moment to see Koba in that state of just like finally seeing, the truth spoken out into the world, and that somebody could understand him or what he wants so plainly and so openly that it brings out this, there's nothing else to do than to just scream, to let out all of the anger, the pent up feelings inside, and he lets out that scream. And I thought it was just so, it was so powerful. I wish I could capture that scene in a bottle and just like hold on to it and just like really, look at it and gain some strength from it. Cause I just thought that was amazing piece of work, that moment. So long story short, Caesar realizes and tells his human friend, the main guy, he basically tells him, listen, Apes started this war, all right? Koba started it, without my approval, but it happened, you know what I mean? And humans won't forgive the apes for causing all this, for causing the simian flu, perchance, but even though it was humans' fault, humans will still hate apes no matter what. They'll hate the apes, and humans will also just, humans will hate them back. So it's just going to be this constant war. And that's where we leave off. That's what happens. Caesar gets control of the ape community, and unfortunately, Koba, the scene where Caesar is holding on to Koba and he makes the realization that Koba's not ape anymore. And you can see it on Koba's face and then the scream and the very loud no that he gives. It's so terrifying and so sad, and it's so upsetting because it also mirrors the scene where Koba killed Ash. He threw him over the building, and it's the same not the same kind of drop, but it's a much greater drop, I should say. And it's a lot more brutal. We see him hit a wire, flop, hit what's left of the crane, and then drop to his demise. And it's Koba. That was a scary one to watch, a scary death scene to see, and it was upsetting for me. And again, it's upsetting because I understand Koba, and I want to be the human to change him, you know what I mean? But from Caesar's perspective, it's like, you're not us anymore. You have let this take control of you, and you could have changed. You could be different. You could adapt. You know what I mean? We've evolved this far. We can still adapt. We can still be better, but he can't let it go. So, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Great movie. Great sequel. I really enjoyed every aspect of it. I thought they underutilized Gary Oldman a bit, but I felt like he had some powerful moments, especially when he detonates the C4. But yeah, other than that, great movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like a real treat, that movie. I just really enjoyed it, and there were certain moments I keep going back and revisiting, particularly the Caesar versus Koba fight. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Go watch it if you haven't watched it, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.